Hey everybody, my name is Will, and I am the president of HavenScope, and I have the honor of two new guests on the podcast this week. I have one Allison Rancon and one Leah Place. How you guys doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm still doing good. Yeah, exactly. Nothing's changed since a couple seconds ago. All right. But on this week, we're actually going to introduce the new way we're kind of going forward with these podcasts. We did it about an episode ago where we kind of just talk about what we've been watching, whether that's movies or shows we've seen in the past, ones we're interested in seeing in the future, or ones we've just seen. Which one of you guys would like to start us off with what you've been watching?
So I just finally got caught up on Abbott Elementary the other day. I binge watched the first 4 seasons, and they're like, I think they're starting to close up season 4 now.
Oh yeah.
So I was able to catch up to where they're at. I've been watching some other things, but that's probably the most interesting at the moment. Because
I know it's a mockumentary. I still need to see it because I've heard really good things, and I know they're doing an Always Sunny crossover. Is that...
I was lucky enough. I don't often get to do this because as a college student, why would I have cable? But I was lucky enough to watch the Abbott Always Sunny crossover live because I was home when it premiered, and it was fantastic. I think it was very, very good.
That's really good because it was they did that one because they're doing one that's in the Always Sunny style eventually too, right? Because this was the one where it was from like the Abbott people's perspective or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if they are. I absolutely hope they do because it was a very fun clashing of the characters.
That's good. Like they didn't like have to like, because I know Abbott, like they can have some jokes, but they clearly, I'm sure that show does not get as like dark or like obscene as Sunny. Like they toned down a bit for that.
Yeah, and that's something me and my dad were talking about because he's not really fond of too vulgar of humor. But we were talking about how with Abbott, if you have really good writers and really strong writing, you can make not vulgar stuff really funny. Yeah. And I think they were able to bring that and adapt the Always Sunny characters to a more PG environment. It was really good, I think.
Right. That's good to hear. Well, what else about like the series have you liked? Have you like watched other mockumentaries like The Office, Parks and Rec, like the classics, that kind of thing?
So I am actually, hot take, I'm a hater of The Office.
Oh, okay.
I'll say it right into the camera. Okay. I don't like The Office.
All right.
Never have. It's too dry for me. It makes me so uncomfortable.
What about Parks and Rec though?
All I've seen of Parks and Rec is like bloopers on Facebook Reels and TikTok and the like. What I've seen of it, I really like. I love like Nick Offerman. Is that his name?
Yeah, he's Ron on the show.
I love him. I love Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza is on it.
That's why I asked if I could Google things.
Oh yeah, no, you're good.
Because I'm terrible. But I've never actually sat down and watched the show. I think because I had the fear I'd have the same kind of secondhand embarrassment as The Office.
It's the first season of Parks and Rec is genuinely not that great at all. Even I think the creators kind of talk about that themselves, where they kind of didn't find their stride until season 2. And it's probably another terrible thing to say is it doesn't get good until the end of season 2, basically. But I'm not lying. But once it gets there, it introduces 2 other characters. That's when the show just really like coalesces and like becomes really amazing. And I'm also kind of not like the biggest Office fan. I don't hate it, but like Parks and Rec was the show I watched first, so I think that's probably part of it. But Parks and Rec, I think, genuinely is the better of the 2, and I would say it's well worth watching. It's just that first season is very rough. It's pretty short, but it's very rough. Second season kind of finds its footing, but then at the end of season 2 is when it really like starts hitting it out of the park consistently.
I'll have to go and suffer through the first 2 seasons because from what I've seen of the show, especially. It seems like when Chris Pratt comes in, when his character comes in, that's the stuff that I see online that I think is the funniest. So I'd probably have to suffer through until he's introduced.
Yeah. Is there any character on Abbott that's kind of like the Chris Pratt character you've seen? Because his name's Andy on that show, and he's kind of like the goofball character. Because like I'm not really. That's the other thing about that show is like I know it's good and I've seen some of the characters, but like do they have like any of those archetypes like on there, like a weird goof one that's kind of dumb?
I'd say it would be like Jacob because he's like the outcast teacher.
Well,
Is that the white guy?
Yes.
Okay, that's what it is. That's what it is.
I think it's kind of a toss-up because I would say Mr. Johnson is also kind of that character. He is the janitor who he's had like a million jobs. He believes all the conspiracy theories. He's kind of like that oddball character. But then there's also Ava, the
principal.
And she's kind of like just does not act how a principal should act. That's her shtick. So I don't know. But it's a very creative kind of how they make the oddball characters oddball because they're all in their own way fish out of water.
Yeah, because I know. Oh, I should know his name. It's the guy who, when he was a kid, he what is his name? He was on the show Everyone Hates Chris. Is he the straight character that they play straight? Like he's like kind of the more serious one.
I think
I cannot remember his name.
If we're thinking of the same,
he's the one that like he has a crush on the main teacher.
His character is
woman.
Gregory.
Tyler James Williams.
Yes. Okay. Yes, because he used to be on always like Everyone Hates Chris back in the day. It was a really funny sitcom about Chris Rock's life. Wait, what?
Let It Shine. Was that the movie?
You're asking the wrong person.
It was a Disney movie, and I'm pretty sure it had Keke Palmer.
He probably wouldn't be surprised because he was a child actor back then.
Yeah, that was a good one. I know his one rap.
Now, the thing about the principal I wanted to the thing about the principal I wanted to bring up though is she kind of like not a villain? Is she just like kind of an antagonist, or is she like, is it just kind of like she does things her own way and that just like that's like the conflict?
Absolutely, she does things her own way.
Okay.
One of my favorite lines from the show actually is she says something wrong and a character corrects her and she's like, I know, I do what I want. And that's her entire thing.
I think I've seen like a gif of that, or I've at least seen that clip then.
It's so, that show is very clippable because that show is packed with jokes. It's so good, I think, personally.
I just like started like really watching it because I would watch it with her, and now that I'm actually noticing the small little things, it's very worth the watch.
That's good. That's good. Because you said, so you guys are caught up through season 4 to when that Always Sunny episode came out?
She is not caught up yet. I am caught up. Okay. I think I'm caught up. I might have a new episode to go home and watch.
Is that on Hulu?
Yes.
Okay. Because that's the other thing about nowadays is catching up with these shows. It's like, oh yeah, I really want to watch that. And then it's like, what is it on?
Yeah.
It's like the equivalent to what channel is it on?
Oh yeah, pretty much. I mean, we're already getting like bundled services that are like cross-company again. So we're basically kind of almost going back to the cable model.
We're back. That's Marshall McLuhan's laws of media. Will always go back to the same thing.
Well, is the medium is the message, or the message is the medium? I think it's the medium is the message. That's what it is.
The medium is the message.
Forget my professor from Kutztown's name, but I remember she taught us that. She drilled it into our brains. I
had Dr. Longcore from Mansfield for my media. What was that? When did I learn that? Media culture class. Nice. I don't remember the name of it.
It's a very iconic phrase. Is there anything else about Abbott you want to bring up?
Leah, do you have anything about Abbott you'd like to bring up? I caught you in the middle of a yawn.
I don't know. I just watched the episode where they found this student's cat, but they didn't realize it was a lost cat until the end of the episode.
Okay.
That one was cracking me up. But anything with Ava's just really funny.
All right. Well, actually, my last question would be then, so it is a little bit more of that story of the week type thing with like probably some like overarching like storylines going on in the background, but like...
Yeah, definitely. They have like the, setting relationships up or setting, a character's like longer plot line up, and that's going on in the background, but it's every week's kind of a new issue.
Yeah, it's kind of the same Office or Parks and Rec model then. All right.
Well, maybe they're getting cool again. I mean, clogs are back. Anything's possible.
Yes, but there are some cool clogs.
I just can't believe that children are smoking ragweed.
I know. Don't they know that smoking kills?
Jacob, you literally vape.
Okay, that's different.
Yes, and that it's worse because you can vape anywhere. You vape all through Saltburn.
You're inhaling thousands of toxins. Yuck.
Yeah, well, Janine smokes weed every day.
No. Damn, Afro Man.
Well, that was Abbott Elementary. Leah, Allie texted me before the show about what you want to talk about, and I'm very interested to hear this.
I don't watch many shows, but I watch Gossip Girl, and that was my favorite show I think I've ever watched, like from start to finish. I was so into it.
All right. Well, okay. What about it do you love so much? Why is it like
drama?
Okay.
I just love drama because it's like the petty stuff. It's like, oh, she stole my boyfriend type stuff. But she's my best friend.
Now, Leah and I are roommates. She would disappear and just watch Gossip Girl for hours at a time. When she was binging this show, she was lost to everyone. It was Gossip Girl and Gossip Girl only.
How many seasons of it are there? Like, is it
Pretty sure there's 7.
Like, is there a spin-off of it too at some point, or is it just?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I was very upset the way it ended, though.
Okay, that's actually less than I would think.
Okay, 6, not 7.
Like Grey's Anatomy is still going. That's got like 17 seasons now.
I had to stop watching that. It was just going on way too long.
I used to watch Grey's Anatomy with my mom when I was very small. Not like too small to watch Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
But like
there's some wild stuff in that show.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a doctor, so it was all good.
Leah, is there anything wild in Gossip Girl? Because like, have you seen like there's that plane crash thing in Grey's Anatomy? That's when the show fully jumped the shark for me, and I just gave up watching that. Is there anything like that in Gossip Girl?
I would have to say like spoiler alert, but probably when Chuck Bass dies.
Okay. Oh, did Allie not know that? Sorry, viewers at home. All like 5 viewers at home. Sorry.
So
I don't have no idea who that is.
For context, I have yet to watch a single full episode of Gossip Girl.
Oh no.
But Leah, because she was so like she was in it, she would like tell me about it. So I like, wow. It's shocking.
But like he didn't actually die.
Okay.
They like killed him off, but he came back.
And
it was like the end of the season type of thing. And he like Chuck's disappeared, blah, blah, blah. And they found like his wallet and stuff on a dead body. But when they went to go view who it was.
He like burned to death? Like what?
No, he got mugged and then he woke up.
The show is crazy.
Was he just like walking? It was just a random mugging, or did he know the mugger?
He was in Paris.
He just gets mugged and dies?
He got mugged in Paris and they stabbed him. But apparently some lady came down and like saved him, and he told her his name was Henry Prince, and that was like a small little plot line there. But yeah, besides all of the white collar crime that goes on, I think that's the most interesting.
All right, that's definitely a bit soap opera. That's definitely
very soap
because it's like
opera.
all socialites in like Upper East Side Manhattan. I think it's Manhattan.
Okay.
They own like hotels and stuff. And they go to Ivy League.
So
They have money.
That's kind of like the framing device of the show then, because that was the thing. I've always heard. I always get Gossip Girl, and is it Gilmore Girls? Gilmore Girls. I always get those two confused as like the same show or something like that.
I do too, because I think in Gilmore Girls they also go to Ivy League schools.
Yeah, but Gilmore Girls is more like an old school. Like this sounds very soap opera-y, like trying to think of I can't think of the right thing for it. But I don't know. Gilmore Girls to me seems more I don't want to say old-fashioned. It doesn't seem like it would ever have like random mugging in it that just character dies.
Yeah.
But I'm not actually sure about that.
Can I read the Google AI overview of Gilmore Girls?
Oh no.
Set in a storybook Connecticut town populated by an eclectic mix of dreamers, artists, and everyday folk, this multi-generational drama about family and friendship centers around Lorelai Gilmore and her daughter Rory. Lorelai owns the town's bed and breakfast, the Dragonfly Inn, with best friend / chef Suki, and contends with weekly dinners with eccentric, well-off parents Richard and Emily Gilmore, who always have something to say about their daughter's life. After high school, Rory attends Yale University, but frequently returns to Stars Hollow to visit her mom.
Okay, thanks AI in Google. I'm sure there's plenty of stuff in there it got wrong.
I know Jared Padalecki's in that show.
Really? He's in that?
I think. Let me double check that.
Did that show come out before Supernatural?
Yes.
Why? Okay, so it's like early 2000s.
It was, I think it says first season in 2000, and Jared Padalecki played a character named Dean on Gilmore Girls before he played Dean's brother in Supernatural.
Yeah.
I had a big Supernatural phase.
Okay. Well, I guess to cycle back around to Gossip Girl, who is your favorite character on that show and why?
Chuck Bass.
Okay, so the guy who gets mugged and dies. Got to make sure the viewers remember that. But doesn't die.
Besides the looks, I would say like his growth as a character was like kind of crazy, but mostly the looks. Yeah, it's good.
Okay. Mostly the looks. Leah, would you know, like, off the top of your head, like, kind of the style of the show that's filmed in? Because, like, Abbott Elementary is a mockumentary. Is it kind of just like a single can regular TV show? Like, is that what it kind of seems like to you?
From what I've seen of it, it's very soap opera.
Okay.
Like, it's like...
That's kind of what I was thinking or figuring.
The dramatic faces and, like, the close-ups with, like, the dramatic music.
It's very, like, even the way it's shot seems very melodramatic.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Especially for, like, what happened.
I can kind of picture some of this in my head. Was Ryan Reynolds on one of these shows?
No, but Blake Lively was in Gossip Girl.
Okay. That would be it.
Yeah. She wasn't good. Personally.
Oh, no.
Personally, I didn't like her in the show just because, I don't know. I heard she dressed herself.
Oh.
She can't
scandalous.
say things about Blake Lively, Leah. She will sue you.
Okay.
Leah, you can't afford to be sued by Blake Lively.
Well, I didn't hear anything.
Well, unfortunately, she's one of the 5 viewers of the podcast every week.
She's
even though we don't put a podcast out every week. Yeah.
Yeah, not a fan of her in the show.
She's actually outside the studio right now.
We're gonna have to watch our backs walking home. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, because they're a package deal.
She's like the Beyonce of the Hollywood.
But Leah, how many times would oh no. How?
Circle back.
Oh my goodness!
Back.
All right, circling back. All right, so like, is Gossip Girl like? Is it like a yearly thing for you? Like, will you always come back to it, or has it like have you gone like? Wait, what?
I might be
Okay.
like, I'm not really a rewatcher. Like, I'll watch a couple episodes and then get bored of it again.
Okay.
But I might have to rewatch that show at least another time in my life.
All right.
Because it was really good.
Oh my goodness. So either of you want anything else about Gossip Girl you guys want to add on?
I'm gonna say, you know half the plot.
I know half the plot.
And you know that dude gets mugged and dies, but doesn't now.
I know half the plot, and I know who Gossip Girl is, but I'm not gonna.
Oh wait, so Gossip Girl is like a thing? That's like a person? It's like a title?
yeah.
It's a
Gossip
mantle?
Girl is a thing in Gossip Girl, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. We're not going off this topic yet. What? So like, is it just someone who gossips a lot in the show?
Yeah. Like, it's basically like an insider who people can email the Gossip Girl website or whoever it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they send in like anonymous tips. Yeah.
That's
then
what
Gossip Girl posts it and everyone gets to read it.
Okay, I did not know this at all. I thought that was just like, I thought it was just like a Sex and the City type title or just like a descriptor that they came up with. And it's like, I don't know, called Gossip Girl or like Pretty Little Liars or something like that.
There is a Gossip Girl, and how
Okay.
they reveal her Could have been better.
But that's why the show's so dramatic, because it's not just the soap opera drama. It's then all the soap opera drama is broadcast to all of Manhattan.
Okay.
Everyone knows.
Ooh, everyone knows.
And it like is supposed to ruin lives and things like that, and it gets crazy. Well, I guess if you lived in the upper East Manhattan area, it would be like very shocking happening to you.
Yeah.
But watching the show, it was just like, you're joking, right?
It's like real people problems.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Your mom is freaking out, so my mom is freaking out.
What? Which means you freak out? Blair, just cut the cord. Go nuts. Come on, let's do shots. Come on.
I told Lily that you were buying a pie.
Oh, pie.
Where is your purse?
Okay. Well, I think the next part we're going to talk about is the show that I've been watching. Watched it a few years ago when it first premiered, and it currently has its second season premiering now. Have either of you guys heard of Severance or seen it?
I've heard of it.
I've heard of it, and I've heard that it's very, very good, but I have not watched it.
Do you guys know what it's about?
I don't actually.
Okay.
No.
The main premise, it's created by, I think it's Dan Erickson is the creator. The main producer and like director for most of it is Ben Stiller. That goes through his production company. It's Adam Scott. John Turturro is in it. There's a few other people, a few actually like relatively people that aren't like that known. This has kind of been their big breakout hit. It's basically about this idea that like there's this company these people work for. That basically they can sever your work life and your personal life. So when you go to work, they activate like the thing and it cuts off your memories. And you are basically, the way they talk about it is you have your outie and your innie. The innies are the people that go to work. They have no memories of who they are outside of work, and they are only at work. And then so basically, if you're going into work, you go into work, blip, and it's as if you're leaving work immediately, that kind of thing. You have no memory of what's going on. So the show kind of centers around what's kind of going on the inside with like how those like the innies like interact with each other, the work they do. And it kind of starts to like, it goes from there basically as like some stuff starts to like basically bleed through in terms of like what's going on here. Because one of the ways they start the series off is basically Adam Scott's character is kind of like they have a nice juxtaposition between his outie and his innie, where his outie is very depressed. He lost his wife to an accident a couple years ago. He's doing the severance procedure just simply because he wants to forget about it, because basically you don't remember anything when you're at work. And the funny thing is that his innie is actually like, it's this very cheerful person who like really likes doing his job, but that's mainly because he has no memories of like who he actually is outside of work. And I will bring this up. They're functional human beings. They don't need to be trained like babies. They don't have memories and they don't really know things, but like they're still people and they can talk and all that.
That's crazy.
But like, yeah, they have no memory who they were, but they immediately pivot from that, where while he is the main character, they pivot on to like a new character that is a new innie that is getting introduced to their team after a person left. And it's basically through her like POV of like, what is going on? This is messed up. I don't want to be here. And like her and us as the viewers kind of like starting to realize like, this is like really like ethically messed up. Like I don't know if are you torturing your, like that's one of the main things in the show is like, is the innie a different person? Are you torturing yourself for 8 hours a day and just forgetting about it? Like that, it kind of goes from there. It's honestly, have you guys ever seen Twin Peaks?
I watched Twin Peaks a very long time ago, and I don't think I ever finished it, but yeah.
I don't want to necessarily say there's like the magical realism of like Twin Peaks where it's like, what's going on here? But like the way characters act, well, like some of the other characters, like the people that work at the company they work for, and like some of the like just the vibes around the setting of like the story, it's a lot of it feels off kilter, and it's really amazing. The set design is amazing. It's these like I think they just do it in like a warehouse with a bunch of just like these white walls, just ceilings on the top. I'm sure it's pretty easy to light, but it really helped. It's this really unsettling like just vibe that it's one of the best shows I've probably ever seen, and season 2 is still really good. I think the 5th episode just aired. I think it's the 6th episode this week. It's about 10 episodes. I won't know my full thoughts until the season is over, but I would say it's still really great, and I would definitely check it out. It's a really good time, especially if you like something with a little bit of sci-fi, and especially something that like. I've heard some people talk about this where it's basically like, a TV show where stuff actually happens every episode and not just like, is this just like filler or stretching for time? It's like, actually feels like it's progressing here. They are making use of their time per episode. It's not just this is the episode where I guess like, here's their little side story thing that doesn't really do anything and doesn't even actually have any interesting character stuff.
That's what makes it like binge worthy. Like you're able to just keep watching it over just like every episode.
Yeah. Well, see, the opposite of that, though, that I like about it is that it is week to week, though. Because as much as I do like binge watching, it is nice to have a show like this that you can kind of like, not that there's an actual water cooler that I'm going to, but like the water cooler moment where you get to talk to other people. Like, did you watch the episode this week? Because like this show... It's a lot of episodes that are like that, where it's just like, oh my God, I have to wait a week to see the next one. Are you kidding me? But it's like, so good in that way.
Sometimes that delayed gratification is worth it. Like sometimes it's good to wait for episodes and stuff like that. That sounds really refreshing though, because there's I think a lot of streaming service shows are just kind of set up to not have anything really happen, and they're written to be background noise. Yeah. So it's refreshing to hear that there's something that it wants your attention.
Exactly. And honestly, like I had mentioned it earlier with like the Parks and Rec comment off of Abbott, where like that was a show that needed to find its footing. When we kind of like look at streaming shows nowadays and these binge worthy models, a lot of them it's like they put it out and then it gets canceled after season 2. It never has a chance to even have those like moments that like people like coalesce around the show. They start talking about it. It gets like, because like season 1 of Severance, relatively big. I wouldn't say it's like massive, but I would say season 2 has already noticeably like gone up in terms of like how many people are like talking about the show that I see, at least on the internet, that kind of thing. Like it's definitely that, like it feels like it's actually gained some momentum that a lot of shows nowadays I feel like don't get, especially ones that are like that you're like, oh, this really got canceled after 2 seasons. It's like, what the like, whereas like in more traditional TV models they maybe would have had a chance.
And I think also what contributes to that is the 6 to 12 episode seasons. Like you don't have very long seasons to be able to find your footing faster. Yep. You only have those 8 episodes to, tell as much of a story as you can, but also you're writing for, algorithms and and
then like half those episodes nothing's really going on in them because they're like almost structured like movies. Like as much as I've enjoyed some of like the Marvel TV shows that they've done, a lot of them are like 6 episodes. A lot of them are very much structured like a movie, where it's kind of like there's not that much happening, and then it's like, oh, episode 5 is always like the big one and they got the cliffhanger there. But it's like you see that even in other stuff where it's just like, yeah, it's 8 episodes and like, how are there like 4 episodes here where nothing's really happening? Like this doesn't really feel like a season of a show.
That was a problem that I had with the Percy Jackson show, the newer one on Disney Plus. It felt like a lot of filler in something that, not a lot, like the source material itself is not a lot of filler. It's very packed novel. So I feel like they could have really packed that show even within, I think it was 8 episodes.
Something like that.
Sounds about right.
That was a really good show.
I think, and I do still think it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Very much looking forward to season 2. But I feel like not that it was bad that they changed things from the book, but I think they changed the wrong things from the book.
Oh, yeah.
And it resulted in it being a little more, it messed with the pacing of it, I think. Yeah. In my opinion.
Because wasn't the author wasn't really involved with like, cause there was like the movie or the 2 movies, right, that people just didn't like. It was do you know if the author was involved with this one?
Yes, Rick Riordan was involved. I think I'm saying his name right. I don't know if I'm saying his name.
Oh, he's another listener, so he'll let us know.
Well, yeah. He was not involved with the movies. He, I think, actively like denies anything that happened in the movies. But he was, as far as I know, like very involved with the Disney Plus show. I know he had a couple of cameos here and there. I think he's the main producer. He and his wife are the executive producers. I don't think the movies were necessarily bad. I don't think they were good Percy Jackson adaptations, but I think they were good movies.
All right. Yeah.
And Logan Lerman's a delight. So.
Oh yeah, that was him. Has he been in anything else recently?
He might be.
I feel like I confuse him and Dylan O'Brien a lot of the time because I know Dylan O'Brien was He was in those Maze Runner movies, right?
I think so.
I think.
Let's look up Logan Lerman first.
Look him up. We'll see that. But yeah, to cycle back about like Severance a little bit, I definitely would recommend it. It's really great. And like it's definitely, there's some episodes that they're probably going to be a little slow, but I would say that absolutely worth it. It's just really great overall. And Adam Scott in it is actually in Parks and Rec. This is probably the most like serious or dramatic role I've ever seen him in, and he does an amazing job. Like everyone on the show is amazing, especially a lot of like I think it's Trill Tilleman. He plays Mr. Milchek in the show, and it's like he does this like amazing, just kind of like not like deadpan, but like kind of like just menacing figure that's like always there, but like kind of always has a smile. Like he's one of those people that's like, I hope this dude breaks breaks through whatever gate has been holding him back and like gets a ton, I almost said the S word, a ton of roles after this, because he's amazing in it, and he's very much like, I don't really think he did anything before this show. It's a really amazing show, and a bunch of people that I hope have really good careers after this.
This is about me acting as department chief today. Okay, well, I mean, I've subbed for PD before, so it shouldn't be that big.
PD is no longer with this company.
I'm sorry?
I said PD is no longer with this company.
I'm sorry, Mark. You guys were one of my favorite office friendships.
I mean, there should have been some notice of this. What happened?
We'd love to tell you, but unfortunately non-disclosure policy forbids. We'd be aiding an assault on PD's privacy by you.
I've seen stuff on Severance. I think I've mentally been getting Severance mixed up with Succession.
Oh yeah, it's very similar names, very different shows though, very different shows, I'll say that.
Because I know Succession is about a line of succession and has Kieran Culkin. That's all I know about that one.
So
I'm very informed on today's media.
Severance has some comedic stuff in it. I wouldn't necessarily call it a dramedy, whereas Severance is that. Succession is definitely the more black comedy. That show is, well, it's got plenty of serious moments. That show, one of the funniest, just absurd things I've ever watched. It's really great.
I'll have to watch that one too.
That one's, and this will probably be our final topic, I guess. Although, what did you find on?
It looks like the last thing of note that Logan Lerman was in is Perks of Being a Wallflower. So he has.
Oh, really?
I might be wrong. I could be very, very wrong, but it doesn't look like he's done anything since 2014.
Interesting. I thought he did at least like a streaming TV show at some point. Huh.
Oh, I didn't click TV shows.
Oh, okay.
I only clicked movies.
All right.
Oh, he's been in some TV shows.
Okay. So he didn't drop off the face of the earth or die. That's good at least.
Hunters and We Were the Lucky Ones.
I think I've heard of that Hunters show. I've not heard of that other one. Interesting. But the thing I was going to bring up about Succession, though, is that's a very interesting show to talk about how it's filmed, because when you first watch it, you might think it's like a mockumentary. They don't do any interviews, but the show, they do it on purpose. The show is kind of framed around, like, you have like kind of those crash zooms, those like kind of like it's a camera person, but it's not in universe. There's no one there. They kind of do it as like it's like a fake person that's in the room witnessing everything that's happening, as if like you're that person, basically. Like sometimes you're hearing a conversation, but you're only seeing someone else, because like that's kind of what it would be if you were like a person in that room. They do some more traditional like actual like film setups every now and then, but it's a really interesting show because of that, where it is almost like that kind of like person in the room that isn't actually there, or like documentary that's not actually happening.
Do they acknowledge the camera? Like
No, like that's the thing, is it's basically played off as if it is a person in the room that doesn't actually exist. They're not it's not any of their actual POVs, the characters. It's basically like if it was the three of us, there'd be like a fourth person here that in real life is the camera operator, kind of doing it almost like a mockumentary, but in the universe of the characters, no. There's no documentary, there's no nothing like that, and it's still like it's a little bit less like Parks and Rec-y with how it looks. Like it's much more of like, I hate to always use the word prestige like TV show, but it's like it's that kind of look, but with like that kind of like filming style minus the actual documentary part of it. Like it's a really interesting style that you don't really see a lot.
That does sound really interesting. I will definitely have to give that a watch. Didn't it just win a bunch of Emmys or something?
Yeah, last year when the Emmys finally came back, because I think it ended last year technically. That was the 4th season. Yes, that was. Time is very confusing.
So late to the game.
Yeah, but it's all out. It's all out now. You could binge it. It's very good. It's very, very good.
What is it on?
HBO.
Oh, okay.
Or
I thought it was only on
Max.
Apple TV.
No, that's Severance. Severance is I forgot to say it. Severance is the one that's on Apple TV.
That's why
Succession is on HBO, aka Max.
Because Severance sounds like something I'd enjoy. Because I really like dystopian stories like that. So that does sound like something I'd enjoy. But I don't have Apple TV because I enjoy dystopian stories.
I'll say this about Succession. Let's just say it's very depressing from a real world politics point of view. I'll say that as a heads up if you do watch it.
Thank you for the warning.
Yes, it is. It's very depressing in that sense, especially like they nailed it. They nailed it. I'll say that.
Thank you for the warning. I cry every time I open my news app.
Oh, me too.
And I don't even want to read the news. I just want to play my crossword puzzle. But I'm followed by the headlines.
The Wordle.
Oh, dang. But okay, any last little things you guys want to bring up about anything we've talked about or the shows you watched?
I don't know. Not that I can think of.
Not that I can think of. Go watch Gossip Girl.
Yes,
go watch Abbott
Gossip
Elementary.
Girl.
And if you have Apple TV, go watch Severance.
Ooh, yes. Thank you for calling that out. And also Succession. And maybe check out the Percy Jackson show. You brought that up.
Yes,
that's
Percy
a very
Jackson
good show. Yeah,
on Disney Plus. It's fun.
It is fun,
especially if you read the book. I think it's a good adaptation of the book.
All right. Well, that was this. I was going to say this week's episode of the HavenScope Podcast, but as people could probably tell, we are not a weekly podcast. I'll just say that was this episode of the HavenScope Podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Have a great evening, and we'll catch you guys next time. Forgot the wave of the camera.
Adios.